My kitty, who loves birds, is going to join the reading today so she can hear one of her favorite fairy tales, The Golden Blackbird. Once upon a time there was a great lord who had 3 sons. He fell very ill, and he sent for doctors of every kind, even ones that fixed broken bones. But none of them could find out what was wrong with him or give him any kind of relief. At last there came a foreign doctor who declared that the golden blackbird alone could cure the sick man. So the old lord dispatched his eldest son to look for this wonderful bird, and promised him great riches if he managed to find it and bring it back. The young man began his journey, and he soon arrived at a place where 4 roads met. He did not know which road to choose, so he tossed his cap in the air, determining that the direction that his cap should fall would be the direction that he would follow. After traveling for 2 or 3 days, he grew tired of walking without knowing where or for how long, and he stopped at an inn which was filled with merrymakers, and he ordered something to eat and drink. "My faith," he said, "it is sheer folly for me to waste time hunting for this bird. My father is old, and if he dies, I will inherit his kingdom." The father, after waiting patiently for some time, sent his second son to seek the golden blackbird. This youth too took the same direction as his brother, and when he came to the crossroad, he too tossed up his cap to see which direction he should take. The cap fell in the same place as before, and he walked on until he too came to the spot where his brother had stopped. The latter, who was leaning out the window of the inn, called to him to stay where he was and to amuse himself. "You are right," replied the youth. "Who knows if I should ever find the golden blackbird?" I should ask you, right, kitty? You would know where it is. "Even if I sought the whole world through, at the very worst, if the old man dies, we will have his property." He entered the inn, and the 2 brothers began to make merry. They feasted until all their money was spent. They even ended up owing some to the landlord, who kept them as hostage until they could pay their debts. The youngest son then set forth on his turn, and when he arrived at the place where the brothers were still prisoners, they called for him to stop, and they did all they could to prevent him from going any further. "No," he replied, "my father trusted me, and I will go on. I will go through the whole world until I find the golden blackbird." "Oh, bah!" said his brothers. "You will never succeed any better than we did. Let him die if he wants to. We will divide his property among the 3 of us." But he went on his way, and he met a little rabbit, who stopped to look at him and then asked, "Where are you going, my friend?" "I really don't know," he answered. "My father is ill, and he cannot be cured unless I bring back the golden blackbird. And it is a long time since I set out, but no one can tell me where to find it." "Ah," said the rabbit, "you still have a long way to go. You will have to walk at least 700 miles before you find it." "How am I to travel such a distance?" "Climb onto my back," said the little rabbit, "and I will take you." The young man obeyed, and at each bound the rabbit went 7 miles, and it was not long before they reached a castle that was as large and beautiful as it could possibly be. "The golden blackbird is in a little cabin nearby," said the little rabbit, "and you will easily find it. It lives in a little cage, with another cage beside it made of pure gold. But whatever you do, Be sure not to put it in the beautiful cage, or everyone in the castle will know that you have stolen it." The youth found the golden blackbird standing on a wooden perch, as stiff and rigid as if it were dead, and beside the beautiful cage was the cage of gold. "Perhaps he would revive if I were to put him in that lovely cage," thought the youth. The moment that the golden bird had touched the bars of the splendid cage, he awoke, and he began to whistle so that all the servants of the castle ran to see what was the matter, saying that he was a thief and he should be put into prison. "No," the young man answered, "I am not a thief. If I have taken the golden bird, it is only because my father is ill, and it is the only way that he can be healed, and I have traveled more than 700 miles to find it." "Well," they replied, "we will let you go, and we will even give you the golden bird, if you are able to bring us the porcelain maiden." The youth departed weeping, and he met the little rabbit, who was munching on some wild grass. "Why are you crying, my friend?" asked the little rabbit. "It is because the castle people will not allow me to take the golden blackbird unless I find for them the porcelain maiden." "You did not follow my advice," said the little rabbit, "and you put the golden bird into the fine cage." "Alas, yes, I did." "Well, don't despair. The porcelain maiden is a young girl, beautiful as Venus. She dwells 200 miles from here. Jump on my back, and I will take you there." The little rabbit, who took 7 miles in one bound, was there in no time at all, and he stopped on the borders of a lake. "The porcelain maiden," said the rabbit to the youth, "will come here to bathe with her friends. I will eat a mouthful of grass to refresh myself. When she is in the lake, be sure that you hide her clothes, which are of dazzling whiteness, and do not give them back to her unless she consents to do as you ask her." The little rabbit left him, and almost immediately the porcelain maiden arrived with her friends. She undressed herself and got into the water. Then the young man glided up noiselessly, and he laid hold of her clothes, which he hid under a rock at some distance. When the porcelain maiden was tired of playing in the water, she came out to dress herself, but she could not find her clothes no matter where she looked. Her friends helped her in the search, but seeing at last that it was no use, she began to cry. They left her alone on the bank, weeping bitterly. The young man approached. "Why do you cry?" he asked. "Alas," she said, "while I was bathing, someone stole my clothes, and my friends have all abandoned me." "I will find your clothes, if only you will come with me." After the porcelain maiden agreed to follow him, he gave her her clothes back, and then he went and bought a small horse for her, which was as fast as lightning. The little rabbit brought them both to seek for the golden blackbird, but when they drew near to the cabin where it lived, the little rabbit said to the young man, "Now, this time be a little smarter than you were before, and then you will manage to carry off both the golden blackbird and the porcelain maiden. Take the golden cage in one hand, and leave the bird in the old cage where he is, and bring that away with you too." The little rabbit then vanished, and the young man did as he was told, and the castle servants never noticed he was carrying off the golden blackbird. When he reached the inn where his brothers were detained, he delivered them by paying all of their debts. They set out together, But as the two elder brothers were jealous of the success of the youngest, they took the opportunity as they were passing by the shores of a lake to throw themselves upon him, seize the golden blackbird, and to fling him into the water. They then continued their journey with the porcelain maiden and the golden bird, and they had the firm belief that their brother had been drowned. But luckily he had managed to grab a tuft of rushes as he fell, and he called out loudly for help after they were gone. The little rabbit came running to him and said, "Take hold of my leg and pull yourself out of the water." When he was safely back on shore, the little rabbit said to him, "Now this is what you must do. Dress yourself like a Breton seeking a place as a stable boy, and then go and offer your services to your father. Once you are there, you can easily make him understand the truth." The young man did as the little rabbit told him, and he went to his father's castle and inquired if they were in need of a stable boy. "Yes," replied his father, "very much indeed, but it is not an easy place. There is a little horse in the stable who will not let anyone go near it, and it has already kicked to death several people who have tried to groom it." "I will groom it," said the young man. "I never saw a horse yet that I was afraid of." The little horse allowed himself to be rubbed down without so much as a toss of its head. "Good gracious!" exclaimed the master. "How is it that it lets you touch him when no one else can go near him?" "Perhaps he knows me," said the stable boy. 2 or 3 days later the master said to him, "The porcelain maiden is here, but though she is as lovely as the dawn, she is so wicked that she scratches everyone that approaches her. Try, see if she will accept your services." When the youth entered the room where she was, the golden blackbird broke forth into a joyous song, and the porcelain maiden sang too and jumped for joy. "Good gracious!" said the master. "The porcelain maiden and the golden blackbird know you too." "Yes," said the young man, "and the porcelain maiden can tell you the whole truth, if she will." Then she told all that had happened, and how she had consented to follow the young man who had captured the golden blackbird. "Yes," added the youth, "I delivered my brothers, who were kept prisoners at an inn, and as a reward they threw me into a lake to drown. So I disguised myself, and I came here in order to prove the truth to you." The father embraced his son and promised that he should inherit all of his possessions, and he put to death the 2 elder sons who had deceived him and who had tried to slay their own brother. The young man then married the porcelain maiden, and they had a splendid wedding feast.